A quick video on how to start the midterm project. So I've got the eyes folder file that you'll find in the project, and I've got the layers palette up. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull up the painting. I'm going to go from essentials to painting and get all of these as well. And you still have this, okay. Okay, so I'm going to use a photo of me, not the best photo, so I totally recommend you use a better photo than what I'm using in this example. I'm bringing this here, and I'm in the Move tool. Okay, there we are. And I'm going to simply click and drag and just say OK to this. That's fine. Okay, now I don't need this. Crunch that out. Now I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to do Control minus, and then I'm going to do Control T, and I'm transforming that. And actually, before I go any further, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this photo below the grid, which is those two red dots. Okay, so back to Control T, and I'm going to drag. I'm going to have to really drag this, so hopefully you've taken a photo that's not quite as far away as I did mine. I'm going to zoom out a little bit further. Okay, just a little bit more. And I actually have it crooked, so I'm going to also tilt that a little bit in a moment. Okay. Okay, there we go, and I'm going to go ahead and commit. All right, let's bring it up and see what it looks like. Okay, close enough. Actually, it could be, I'm going to zoom out again because that actually could be a little bit, not that far out, gosh darn it. It's still a little bit crooked. I believe I need to pull it over this direction. Let's take a look. I think that's okay. So I'm going to commit. And now I'm going to do Control 0 and, whoops, taking its time, sorry. Okay, Control 0 to bring that into size. Now, I don't need to use the grid anymore. As a matter of fact, I would turn it off and pull it back behind. You don't even really need this original photo anymore because that is your original over there. And I'm going to click on original and drag it in to the trash. I am going to rename this original, or you could call it, yeah, I call it original, okay. Okay. Now, to get started, now this photo of me is not only in poor focus, but it's too yellow. It's casted to too yellow. But just for the purposes of giving a demo on how to get started, I'm going to work with what I have. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get the eyedropper tool, and remember, you can find out what the tools are if you simply hover your pointer over it. So I'm going to get the eyedropper tool. And I'm going to look for the main color, kind of the base color. And I think I'm going to call that, I'll call it this. And I'm going to now make a new layer. And it's above the original. Let's go ahead and lock that, by the way. Okay. Now, rename this face. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab a brush. Ooh, brushes. And I'm going to make this kind of large. It's a hard brush, that's totally fine. And get in, make sure you're selected in the correct. I wasn't in that, that's why it wasn't showing up. Now it is. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just actually make that a little bit larger. Okay. Now, I don't need to use that for a while, so I can simply turn that off. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make another layer. And I think that, and by the way, I'm just hitting the bracket tool to make that smaller. Now I'm going to go ahead and sample one of the darkest areas. And in this case, and again, this is just too dark of a photo. Don't use one this poor. But I'm going to go ahead and sample this, okay? And I'm going to name that below eyebrows. And here we are. And I'm going to again, make sure you're in that layer when you want to work on it. Now you want to make your brush really small. And I'm going to make it probably a 9 or a 10, and I'm going to get in there really close. And again, you can see how this is pixelating, so not a very good photo. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start putting in these values. Now that seems a little too dark to me. I'm going to undo this. And one of the beauties of working with layers is if you do a layer and it stinks, you can take that layer off. You don't have to completely go back to scratch to do it. So again, the more layers you work with, the better. Now one of the things I should have done is I should have changed the flow. Okay, so I'm going to change the flow. I think I'm going to change that flow to about 30. You can play with opacities too. Okay, so now let's see how this looks. When you put these colors in, remember that they are going to be kind of blocky at first. And I'm going to go ahead and now I'm going to sample this color here. Sample this color here. Okay, so you get the general idea. I'll do one more. Now make sure whatever you do, don't make one eye and then copy and flip it over. It's so obvious that it's not worth the while. Just be patient. Okay, so I'm going to pull out now, and I'm going to turn this on. So you know you would be coming in here eventually. First of all, you'd fill it in better than I've done. But you're eventually going to come in and you're going to use the smudge tool. Okay, and I've got that set at 50% right now. I actually would come back in and get a little more of this in here because I think that I should have gotten a little bit more of that orange out in the background. Okay, going back to the smudge tool. And remember, this is a process. This isn't something you just do it in 10, 15, 20 minutes or 1 hour and you're done. But this is how you'll start, okay? It's gonna take some time. You're gonna have multiple layers. Get all of the skin built up. You don't necessarily need to smudge it out, but get all the skin built up before you start things like the eye or the eyebrows. So hopefully this will help you.